Hey Supermodel, welcome to the Faith Model Guide. Whether you are an aspiring model with no experience and want to learn the skills to become a professional model, or you're an experienced model seeking to elevate the quality of your bookings and professional pursuits, the Faith Model Guide can help you at any stage. My name is Iman Jasmine Brown, and I am the Faith Model Guide. In this video, we will be discussing model terminology. This is mainly for the new models who are just getting started in their modeling career and may hear words within the fashion industry that you either know, don't know, or don't understand. So I've put together a small list of model terminology that I will give you the definition and give you a little explanation from my own experience. Cool? All right, let's get started. The first word is modeling agency. It's pretty self-explanatory, but I'm just going to read the definition anyway. It is a company which represents models attempting to get them work and is compensated predominantly by taking a commission from the work that they've gotten a model. All right, the next word is mother agency. An agency or manager who puts a model under an exclusive contract and then promotes the model to booking agencies, and normally the mother agent develops the model. And generally the mother agent sponsors models from cities from where the model lives and manages his or her relationships between the booking agency and the model. A good mother agency will provide continuing advice, support, and assistance to the model who is under another booking agency. And typically mother agents are compensated by taking a percentage of the model's earnings for some period of time. So just to put this in context, I am signed currently to two agencies. EMG, who is my mother agent, and Elite Model Management in New York. So prior to signing to Elite, I was signed with EMG. And because EMG was the first agency that I signed to, they are considered my mother agent. And when I was approached by Elite to sign in New York, EMG went ahead and gave me the green light to sign with them because they're a bigger agency and because EMG knows that Elite is able to get me work as a model, right? So I'm exclusive to Elite in New York City, which means that I'm only able to work with the agency with Elite Model Management in New York. However, if I wanted to sign with another agency outside of New York, EMG, my mother agent, will facilitate that relationship and those meetings for me to book possibly with another agent elsewhere. All right, moving on. All right, an agent is a person who acts on behalf of another person or group, managing business, finance, or contractual matters for an actor, performer, model, writer, etc., organizing transactions between parties. So that is a definition from dictionary.com. Basically, an agent works at your agency and they are the liaison between you and the job, right? Between you and the casting director or the booker. Okay, they're the ones who do the legwork for you. They kind of like promote you so that you can get the job, and then they work as the middle person between you and that person or that agency or that job so that you can get paid, get seen, you know what I'm saying? And take this fashion industry by storm. All right, so a casting director, the person responsible for assigning roles in a film, play, or production. So as I just mentioned, the agent facilitates the meeting between you and the casting director. So you would go see the casting director and the casting director will say, yes, Iman, you're perfect. Whoever you are, you're perfect for the job and we want to book you. So that's the job of the casting director. And I myself have worked as a casting director, so it's really great to have been on both sides of, of this industry of being a casting director and being a model, because it's very interesting seeing the different models and how prepared they are and how diligent they are when it comes to, the actual process of booking a job. So stay tuned to the Faith Model Guide because I'll be going over all these tips and tricks for you to know so that you're fully prepared and ready to take your modeling career to the next level, okay? All right, the next word is commission. A commission is amount of money, typically a set percentage of the value involved, paid to an agent in a commercial transaction. 10 to 20% is typical. So within any industry, typically your agents take a commission of 20%. So basically what that means is if you make $1,000, then they take $100 from that $1,000, okay? So very standard, very basic. If it's anything over 20, that's a little high, so I would go back and read whatever contractual agreement you have and make sure that that 30% is worth it and that they're getting you, you know, those high paying jobs so that, you know where your money is going. All right. The next word is advance. Money which may be given to high demand models to secure their agreement to accept a booking. If you aren't well known, don't expect an advance, which is true and not true. Money spent by the agency for things you need, they expect to be repaid for. So when you first sign to an agency, typically they will advance payment for, say, comp cards or invoice receipts and just different things that you need to be prepared for when you start booking jobs, right? But when you get your first check, when you get your first payment, they will reimburse themselves from that money, okay? So it's advanced to you now, but eventually they do get that money back from whenever you book your next job, okay? And say if you are a well-known model, say if you're Naomi Campbell, typically you would get that advance because people know who you are and they know that they want you for this job, and so they'll be willing to pay that advance so that you can get the money now, and then the agency, when the job actually pays the model, the agency will just, you know, reimburse themselves with that money. So if that's still a little confusing, feel free to ask questions. Feel free to visit my website at www.thefaithmodelguide.com and book a consultation call with me, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have, okay? So stay tuned. All right, the next word is call time. The time the model is due on set. Generally, the model should show up 15 minutes or so before the actual call time. And that is so true, okay? Because when you show up 15 minutes early, it gives you a chance to just breathe. You know what I mean? It gives you a chance to kind of settle where you are and evaluate your environment and meet the people that you need to meet, right? So that you're right on time for your call time. You're cool, calm, and collected. You're not all frazzled. That's like one of my pet peeves is like being on a job and then seeing a model coming in like guns blazing because they're late. Like you don't want to do that, right? It's like girl, you know, like calm down. Because I'm always the model that's early. No judgment, you know what I mean? Because things happen, but always prepare yourself to be at least 15 minutes early for your call time, because that'll give you a chance to just take a beat, okay? All right. A composition card or comp card. It is a 5x5 or 8x5 double-sided card with your headshot and stats on one side. On the other side of the comp card, it will showcase 4 or 6 photos from your portfolio that show off your range or versatility. And your comp card will act as a mini portfolio for you, and it should include either yours or your agency's contact information. So I have a little example of my comp card here. This is the front, you know, it says your name on it, and it just has like a very basic, simple photo for, you know, the booker or the casting director can see. And then on the back, it's a totally different photo, you know, that's full body, and it shows a little bit more range of like posing and things, and it has like my information on the sides and my agency's information for the bookings, okay? So yeah, so that's it. And just before I move on to the next word, I wanted to go back to call time because I thought about something while I was talking. Always I don't know if I said this, but always like leave like your house or wherever you are at least 2 hours in advance, right? Because things do happen. You know, if you live in New York, sometimes there's train traffic, you know, or whatever. So always be prepared to leave at least 2 hours in advance to wherever you're going, it don't matter where it is, just be on time, okay? That's very, very important because time is money. Time is of the essence, all right? All right, moving on. Open call. An open call is a visual interview open to anyone interested in a particular job or agency. Some open calls will have photographers there to take your digitals, or model scouts looking for new faces to work with, and you may be required to submit your comp card or showcase your runway walk and pose for digitals. So an open call is, like I said, open for all models, aspiring models, experienced models, whatever. It's open to all people, right? So you can come, it's open, you can do it all. If they're interested, then they'll contact you, okay? Very simple. A casting call, however, is a little different. A casting call is similar to an open call where they will take your digitals and ask you to showcase your runway walk or ask for your comp card or your portfolio, whatever. However, a casting call is invite only. So most casting calls are facilitated by agencies. So agencies will send their models to casting calls because, you know, that booker is looking for signed models only, right? That's just from my experience. But sometimes, you know, you can kind of wing it if you're not signed and you have a friend that's signed, or you are signed and you want to book this job that you haven't been invited to. Sometimes us models, you know, we share our secrets and share different castings that are happening in the area. It's just to, you know, collaborate and help each other out. So that's sisterhood, and it's, you know, it's something that I promote. I promote sisterhood in all facets, right? All right, so moving on. A go-see. A go-see is a visual interview one-on-one with either an agency or designer. So yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. Go see is like, go see what they want, right? Like if I were booking Valentino, I would go and see what Valentino is looking for, and I would book that job. All right, I receive it in Jesus' name. All right, a portfolio. A modeling portfolio is a series of photographs taken professionally, compiled and presented in a book to showcase one's ability to perform as a model. It is a potential digital marketing CV and is used to promote a model's talents and ability in front of the camera. So your portfolio should have, I have my old book here, but it should have a range of photos of you, right? So here's an example of my old portfolio. And I say old because I have much newer pictures now, but this is just to give you an example of what your portfolio is, right? It's in a black book. You know, typically it'll have like your agent's name on it. But if you don't have a book from your agent, you can get one of these from, you know, CVS or Michael's or wherever they sell, you know, like work supplies. But this is very easy to find. Like I said, the book it showcases like different photos of you, right? Like here you see me laughing, here you see me posing a little closer. You know, just different editorial shots so that the agent or the casting director can see kind of like your range and what you're able to do, right? So it should be versatile. All right, so that's your portfolio. It doesn't have to be big, it doesn't have to have a bunch of pictures in it. It just has to be something that shows your versatility. Okay, so next word, model stats. A description of the model's basic appearance, parameters, and sizes. For female models, stats usually include height, bust, waist, hips, measurements, hair, and eye color, shoe size, and dress size. Okay, those are your model stats. So it's good to know these from the top of your head, because sometimes, you know, casting directors will ask and you just have to know, right? So for me, I have a 34B bust, I have a 24-inch waist, I have a 34.5 hips, I wear a size 2 in dress, I have a size 9.5 shoe, my hair is brown, red, rustic, my eyes are brown, I'm 5'10.5", period, point blank. All right. Next word, campaign. A word used to describe a set of ads for a particular product. It may be as limited as a single print ad or several coordinated print and TV ads. So the word campaign just gets me excited because modeling for me is a passion. So when I book a campaign, that means that I know that I'll be really like expressing myself, you know, and posing and modeling or whatever. So you can get a Nike campaign, or you can get a MAC campaign, or you can get a Dior campaign, or whatever campaign you get, just know that you're going to be either in one print ad or in a spread, right? Which is really exciting. So if you get booked for a campaign, great for you. All right, moving on. Freelancer, a model working without agency representation and working with multiple non-exclusive agencies. So prior to being signed, I was a freelance model, right? I started my modeling career in 2004. So as you can imagine, I've had a lot of experience as a freelance model, and you know, it worked out for the time being. I'm grateful to be signed now. However, with freelance modeling, you do have to do a little bit more legwork, right? Because you don't have that agent who's facilitating these meetings for you, right? Who's booking jobs for you. So you have to do the legwork. You have to know how to network. You have to maintain your professionalism. You have to build your own book. You have to create your own comp cards, right? These are all things that freelance models do to advance in their modeling career. And that's something that I did because I hadn't been signed until last year. So if I can do it, you can do it too. And sometimes models prefer to be freelance, right? Because they don't want to give the agent a commission, so they want to take all the money for themselves, which is fine, you know. However, most of the time, from my experience, I've learned that the high-paying booking jobs typically look for models that are signed because it's just easier to facilitate business-to-business contractual agreements. Okay. All right. So next word, collaborate or trade for. To work one with another, cooperate. TFP is an acronym for trade for photos. Okay, and it is a common term used in the fashion industry. It could also mean time for prints, trade for prints, or test for prints. This is a setup where the photographer and model, and sometimes hair and makeup and stylist team as well, and they agree to trade services and shoot together at no charge. So as a starting model, it's good for you to get your feet wet in the fashion industry by doing trade for photo shoots, right? Trade for and collaborating with other creatives within your community or people that you meet perhaps on social media. You know, it's really good so that you can start practicing, you know, practicing in photo shoots, you know, and really get your skills advanced in that area, right? And then you can move on to, you know, paying a photographer for professional photos for your portfolio. But trade for shoots are good because sometimes a photographer wants to test new equipment, right? Test their new camera, test their new lighting ability. So they want to do a trade for with a model. So you can find many jobs and many people that are willing to do trade for, okay? So if you haven't already, go to my website, www.thefaithmodelguide.com, and grab the Faith Model Guide ebook, okay? Because there are many resources that I've listed in there where you can access trade for relationships, all right? All right. So the next word is on set. To be on set means to be at the location of filming, to be in with the scenery, okay? So same like call time, you have to be on time for your call time on set. All right, and that just basically means the location where you're needed. Next word, on location, a place away from the studio. So sometimes on location can be the beach. Sometimes on location can be the desert, right? It just depends on what the job you're booking, but that's what on location means. Let's see, the next word is develop, and that means two things. It means one, to turn an exposed film into a picture, to develop a film, or it means to turn a person with modeling potential into a model who is ready to compete in the professional market. So most agencies have their development board and then they have their main board. And their development board are basically their baby face models and their new face models who need a little work in their modeling so that they can start, you know, advancing in the hierarchy of book jobs that they book, right? So if you need any help as a new model, please take advantage of the Faith Model Guide Supermodel Technique Training mini course, of the Beauty Queen Coaching mini course, where where I mentioned earlier before, where that just helps you with your relationships and your public speaking abilities, as well as how to become a professional model, right? I have a mini course for how to become a professional model, you know, and all the things that you need to be prepared in the modeling industry. I have videos and lessons and courses for you to watch and play and practice at your own time. Okay, so make sure to check that out. All right, next word, test shoot. In years long gone by, a test shoot would be one which a photographer had a new film, piece of equipment, or technique he wanted to try out, or a model he wanted to try shooting in anticipation of using her later for a job. Usually in such shoots, no money is charged, and at most the model is asked to pay for the cost of having prints made for her book. More recently, testing has also become the mean of any shoots for a model's photograph portfolio or composition card. It is a commonplace for photographers to charge for their services. Okay, so that was a mouthful. I'm gonna explain it in a little bit simple terms. Okay, so a test shoot is basically the same thing like as I mentioned before, with the trade for, right? So you can do a test shoot, trade for with a photographer or makeup artist or a stylist to get your book, to start building your portfolio, right? You can also do a you can also do a paid test shoot, but I would not recommend you paying for a test shoot unless that you know that you're gonna go in that photo shoot and execute it like from top to bottom, right? And you're gonna be super prepared for that. Otherwise, I recommend that you start doing test shoots that are trade for, so that you can start practicing for these photo shoots, right? And getting yourself a little bit more skilled in posing and body language and facial expressions and all that stuff, okay? Because if you're gonna pay for a test shoot, sometimes they're very expensive, okay? All right, or they can be expensive, so just get your practice in first, all right? Next word, tear sheet, the actual printed page from a newspaper, magazine, or ad that a model photographs is published in. So called because it is torn from the magazine. And appearance on a website does not result in a tear sheet. So basically, just to give you an example, I was once featured in Vogue. Well, I was featured in Vogue a few times, but I can go in my room, grab the magazine, and tear my photo out of the Vogue magazine and put that in my book. That would be considered a tear sheet, all right? All right, and so wrapping it up, we're gonna go with residuals, which is money paid to a model or actor for continued use of their pictures after the photo shoot. And modeling residuals typically are paid when the usage rights originally purchased by the client have been expired and the client wants to continue to use the picture. So when you book a job, you have your usage and you have you can have your usage and your fee, right? Sometimes they're together and sometimes they're separate. So if a company uses your photos or your likeness beyond what you signed up for, like the date beyond what you signed up for, you're entitled to residuals, right? So that's a different conversation from the original job that you've booked, okay? Again, if you have questions, you're confused, let me know. I'll clarify for you, no problem. Next word, booking editor, the person at a magazine who books models. Next word, new face, a model new to the agency, still in development, who is being sent on go-sees and castings, but not yet promoted on the main board. Exclusive means an agreement between a model and an agency that the model will work exclusively through that agency. Exclusive agreements may be limited by time, geography, only in New York, for instance, or modeling, acting discipline, exclusive for on-camera TV commercials. And it also can be categorized as an agreement for a model will not allow her image to be used to advertise any competing product for a specified period of time. It may also include a prohibition against public criticism of the client's product, right? So if you're exclusive to, say, one particular jewelry brand, right? Then that means that however much time you've signed with, say, like Beyonce just signed a deal with Tiffany's, right? So I'm sure that because she signed with Tiffany, she can't go sign with another jewelry brand because it's a competing, like, I don't think she can go sign with like Swarovski crystals, for instance. Like, maybe she can, maybe that's a part of her contract because she's Beyonce, but this is just an example of, like, if you sign with one, say, makeup brand, and you become a brand ambassador for, say, Giorgio Armani, then that means that you can't become also a brand ambassador for Estee Lauder because they're both makeup brands and they're in a competing market. So if you're exclusive to one, then you can't work with another. Same with the agencies. Because I'm exclusive with Elite in New York, I can't go work with Ford in New York, right? So that's what exclusive means. And the last but not least, we're gonna go with usage fee or rate. I mentioned this a little earlier, but I'm gonna just break it down. What this means is models get paid for two things. Work that they do on set and the right to use their images in advertising. So sometimes the fee will be flat, meaning it includes both, but often the two will be separated listings in the bookings, and the model will get paid for the specific limited use of their pictures. If the client wants to do something more than what they paid for, like different kind of publication media or different target audience or longer time or different geographical region, the model will get more money for additional usage. Okay, so if you book a job and the usage fee is $3,000 and the rate is $5,000, then that's a total of $8,000, right? Sometimes you'll book a job and say the flat rate is say $10,000, right? So that means the usage and the rate is $10,000 fixed, right? So beyond that, if your images are still being used, or if the client wants to kind of change anything beyond the agreement that you already made, number one, you're entitled to residuals. Number two, you're entitled to renegotiate whatever contract that you have between you and your agent in that company. And three, you're entitled to request more money. Okay, so that is it for the model terminology for now. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to visit my website at www.thefaithmodelguide.com. Also follow the Faith Model Guide on YouTube, as I'll be posting more bonus videos and tips there as well. And yeah, I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. Ciao. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the Faith Model Guide on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Also, check out the website at www.thefaithmodelguide.com, and make sure to share these videos with other models in your community. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Ciao.